Hello, this is Jack, the author of Fakeyou.ts, and I thought I'd record a quick overview video showcasing Fakeyou.ts in action and some setup from scratch as well, so you'll be able to see that. Might be quite handy. So yes, the first thing I'm going to do is open up the terminal and initialize a new npm repository or package. You see here it's created this package JSON. And here's our package details. I'm just going to install our first set of packages. Well, I think all we need is tsx and of course Fakeyou.ts. So I'm going to install those. There we go. And tsx here, this is just going to help me run our TypeScript project without having to do any compiling. So we'll just be able to run our TS files straight away. So to do that, I'm just going to do tsx index.ts. That will be our file that we're going to create, and our script, call it start. Okay, and because it's TypeScript, we will need a tsconfig. And inside of our tsconfig, we will need our compiler options. Module will need to be set to node next, and then module resolution will need to be set to node next, and then I think I just want one final thing. We'll set strict to true. Okay. Oh yeah, of course we need to create our index.ts file as well for our application, and we must set type module in our package.json. This enables ES module support because Fakeyou.ts is written with ES modules natively, so you must enable ES module support in your package to be able to use Fakeyou.ts. And yeah, I think from here we are good to go. I think if I delete that, I'm hoping that will get rid of that. Okay, yes. So the first thing we can do is just import the client from Fakeyou.ts, and then we can create a new client instance. So I'll do that by doing const client is a new client, and this actually takes an option. It currently only has one option in it, and that's logging, and I'm going to set that to true because that allows the package to output information to the console as we run it, and it's quite helpful to know what's going on, but by default it's false, so you don't have to have it there. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to log in, but you can do client.login, and you need to provide your username and password, and this will authenticate you with Fakeyou, so you get all of your premium benefits, and any text-to-speech stuff that you do is saved to your profile. But because I need to put a password in plain text on the screen, I'd rather skip this step for now, as most of the functionality in this package can work without a login. So yeah, where do I begin? Once you've got it set up like this, you can sort of start working straight away. So the client object has a lot of handy things sort of out of the box. You can see here all the properties and methods that you have. And one of the more important ones that you'd probably want to use straight away is the model. And then the model itself has some handy methods that you can use. And what I might want to do is do fetch models. And of course it's a promise, so I need to save it into a variable, await it, and then let's see. Let's see what we get in the console. So to run our app, we do npm run start, and hopefully it doesn't give us any problems. There we go. Oh, there you go. 3,173 more models were output to the console. But you can see here all of these models that have been fetched from Fakeyou. And the good thing about having logging true is if I don't actually log the models, you'll be able to see here that we get logs on when it's contacting the server. So if I was to spam fetch models, then it will actually tell you some information about caching and how it's skipping fetching through HTTP, which is quite handy. So yeah, a lot of things are cached in this package that will help speed up the application. So yeah, that's the first thing. So I'm just going to give an example of actually sort of downloading. If I bring it over here, I'm going to give an example of actually downloading a audio file. So if I go to text-to-speech on their website and I find a voice, I always use Squidward for some reason, and see more details. There might be a better way to find the model token, but you can see the model token here. I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste it into our app. I'm going to do const model is await client.model.fetch model by token. And you can see here we've got our model now, so that will fetch the model. And then what we can do is we can start synthesizing speech with it. So to do that, we could do const audio is equal to await model.infer, and this infer is what will actually convert the string into speech. And then we could do hey, I am Squidward, and that will synthesize the audio. And then what we can do is we can actually save the audio file to our computer. So we'll just do await audio dot to disk, and I want it just outside of this file. So I'll do Squidward.wav, and everything is as strongly typed as possible, so it even requires that you put .wav in the string. And here we go. We have our setup. This is all good to go. And if we do run start, you can see it's going to go to all the endpoints to fetch the information. There's our job token, and it's going to poll the server until we receive a OK response and the audio is generated. If you're logged in, this should be quicker. Things should sort of speed through a bit nicer. And as you can see here, we've found it went to Google Storage because that's where the WAV files end up when they're generated. And we have our Squidward.wav, and I can play it.
Hey, I am Squidward!
Yeah, it's always good, that is. But there are other tools as well. You can do to buffer as well if you want to store it in a variable. And then you might want to and then you can do whatever you need to do with this buffer. Maybe integrate it with any other packages that you might use, and you can send the raw data to other things and pass it around, which is always handy. And to base64 I included because sometimes your backend, I know I've used things like TRPC before, and sometimes you just need it to be a base64 string, and then you can construct it back to an audio file when it arrives at your web application. So I thought it'd be useful to add to base64 there. And yeah, so that is generating audio. The next thing is I've just randomly plucked it from my head. There's no structure to this tutorial whatsoever, or guide video. So maybe I could show the user profile. So do user profile, and we could fetch the user profile and fetch my profile. There we go, that's my Fakeyou account, and I'll just call this profile. Oop. Then if I console log my profile, then you should see that, oh, of course it's promise, I need to wait, there we go, run that, there you go, there's my public information on my profile, and you can see if I load up the browser, if I go to my actual profile, you see it matches here. And what you can do is you can sort of, there are additional things like being able to edit the profile as well if you want to do that, and you can also fetch audio history, so that would be this page here, so you can fetch all the audio, and there's other things as well. You can fetch the text to the user models as well. I don't have any models on my account, you see it's empty, but if I go to the leaderboard and go to somebody who's created a lot of models, what you'll be able to do is copy their name. I know their username's a lowercase v, so I would make their username a lowercase v, and then I could do profile.fetch user models, and I could fetch all the models for this account. Of course that's promise as well, and if I run that, this will be very long, so I think what I'll do, I'll just fetch the first one, so I'll do 0, and of course I'm trying to index a promise. Let me just wrap that as an expression, and it's also possibly undefined. That's the great thing about TypeScript, is it tells me if there's going to be problems there. So I'll do the null coalescing operator, so if it's undefined it will just be undefined, otherwise it can index the first one. And so hopefully this will get us the first model, and if I remember, first model was Elsa, so that's what we should see. Yeah, it's probably the maybe it's the last model. Oh yeah, I thought it was, yeah, can be white old, yeah. So what I have to do is actually grab it from, oh, I've actually just learnt that it's the other way around. Interesting. Yeah, well it displays in whatever order the API gives it, so if the Fakeyou API gives it to me the other way around, then so be it. But that's what you can do. You can probably do .at -1, and that will give us the same, that should give us Elsa. There we go, Elsa. So yeah, it's just the other way around, that's all. And of course, because we're fetching the user models, let me migrate this out into a new variable. What we can do is, because it's a model, we can also do text to speech. So this is meant to be Elsa, so I could do await user model dot infer, just like before. Hey, I am Elsa, and what that will do is that will synthesize Elsa's voice onto my computer. There we go. So it's actually grabbing the model from the user's account and then using their most recent model to synthesize. Oh, of course, I didn't write it to disk. Const audio, so we need to save that as a variable. Await audio dot to disk. Elsa.wav. There we go. Let's save that. And there you go, it's polling the server. Sometimes it's pretty quick, sometimes it's not so quick. In this case it's not so quick. It will keep trying. maybe this one is a case of, there we go, cool. Elsa.wav, and let's see, I haven't heard Elsa's model before, so.
Hey, I am Elsa.
There we go, nice. I'll just delete those. So yeah, it's quite powerful. There's so much more. I could do client leaderboard. I could fetch the leaderboard. Const leaderboard. Client, of course, leaderboard, fetch leaderboard. And then let's just console.log the leaderboard. And we'll get the first person in the leaderboard in the text-to-speech leaderboard. So if I show you the page I'm talking about, community leaderboard. So we've got the text-to-speech model leaderboard, and then we have the W2L model leaderboard. And if I run this program, we'll be able to see that, of course, Vegito is the #1 person on this leaderboard. Okay. Gosh, what else is there? You've got client. It's basically just a case of digging into here and just seeing what you have. So you could do user, so I could fetch subscription information, session user. This only applies to logged in users. So as you can see, I haven't done client.login, and so fetch logged in user will fail. But you could see how that will fail. Let's just do that. Console logged in user, and if we run start here, it's just null. And so yeah, we don't have access to logged in user. But if I was logged in, you'd be able to see the logged in user details, which is quite handy. And yeah, maybe one last thing before I end the recording. Let's see what we have. Category. Yeah, let's try it. Category. And then what we can do is we could fetch maybe the root categories, and that will give us an array of categories. There we go. And if we console.log, let's just get the first category. And if I just run that, the first category is anime, and then what we could do is maybe fetch the model from the category. So the first category that we find, it's interesting to know as well that categories can have categories nested inside them. So what I've provided is children and parents, so you could identify if you could get the parent category or we could get the children category, categories, which is quite handy. But of course you can fetch the models as well. So let's hope that this category has a model. And there we go. So what we'll do is that can return more than one model, so it's an array. So then what we can do is we can do console log category models 0 dot, and then you can fetch your rate. If you're logged in, you can see what you've rated it, and you can also rate it yourself. You can also do that. Quite handy. Actually, let's do that. Let's rate it. Let's rate the model positive. So the first model in the first category. So if I go to text to speech and I just see more details here. Oh no, that's text speech, explore voices, anime, and then see there's a nested category in it, so that's interesting. So const child category is await categories 0 dot get children, and then that will be child category 0. Then we'll fetch the model and then we'll rate it positive. So if I go back to here, so we've got the child category, and then I can do this. So this will be the first. There's one model here, and actually let's console log this dot model name title. That's what it's called, not model name. So if we run that, hopefully we see that. There we go. So that matches. And then what we can do is we want to rate it. Let's give it a positive rating. If I run the start. Of course, yes, I'm not logged in. So yeah, I can't rate it positive if I'm not logged in. Completely forgot about that. That's typical. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we've already verified the title works. See here. I don't know how to say that. My anime knowledge is very small, but it matches. So yeah, all in all, the API wrapper that Fakeyou.ts provides is really powerful, and there's going to be more features to come. So it's only the beginning, really. And yeah, feel free to npm install it and code away.